Today I'm going to be making a decorative Euro mount bracket out of this piece of mild steel that looks like an old piece of scrapple. The plate is 4 by 9, so that is a 4-inch diameter circle in the center. I cut those slits that you see in there with a portaband. I eventually learned that the chisel is not the most efficient way to separate these little pieces. I switched to a Hardy cutoff tool and tapped it down on that, and that seemed to work a lot better. So for future projects, that's what I'll be doing. So this is the first time I ever attempted a piece like this. It's quite challenging, I think. All those little scrolls that you have to put on there, there's so many of them, they started getting in each other's way. If I had to do it again, I'd probably omit a couple of them. So I thought bending these with scrolling pliers in the dark would make some interesting looking footage. And I think it did, but it really wasn't as practical as I'd liked. I had to move to the anvil after this to help me with a lot. I really didn't have too much of a game plan at first. I just wanted to put these little curly cues on there and thought it would look cool, so I did half and did some on one side and then I started on the other side. But I probably should have just stuck with working from like left to right. I also found that using my scrolling pliers, if I turn them in just one direction and flip the plate over into the other half so it was the same direction, that worked out a lot better too. This first half, just an experimental stage, but I happened to get through it by a miracle. A new day, fresh set of eyes, and a fresh set of bib overalls. Ready to work this one out. So those scrolling pliers are pretty much junk. It was my first attempt at it, and they could have been a little thicker. They don't have much power, much torque. They can't handle much torque. So at this point you might notice that it has a hammered finish kind of texture to it on the surface there. I did that off camera and I did not make a video of me putting that on there. Basically I just took the ball peen side of the hammer there and just beat the tar out of it. And it made it look pretty decent. I ended up adding a little bit more later too because I didn't feel like I had done quite enough damage to the surface. Alright, so now what I have to do, I'm going to punch a hole through here. I'll punch a hole through here. I'm going to rivet the two together. And I'm also going to take this little chisel. I'm going to cut a slit in both of these spots. I'm going to drift holes in it. I'm going to bend it up. And then I'm going to put basically a piece of round bar through it. So it's going to act like a pivot on that point. So that's how it's all going to come together. All right, let's do it. So you might be able to tell I got a little off center with that punch right there. The left side looks a little thicker. So a lot of times I'll cool the thin side down with water so it doesn't stretch, and it'll allow the thicker side to stretch, so you can kind of offset that hole and get it centered back up. Stretching this side too much. I gotta cool this down on the next drift. See if we can get this in there. Try it from the other side. It's drifting pretty even. Nope. It's about as far as it was before. just have to clean it up a little bit. We're gonna bend these up. And we just gotta peg the middle to the back plate. And we're ready. Past 90, it'll be all right. Straighten that out. I'll do the same thing the other side. Alright, so just have to straighten that up. And then it's going to go on the back plate. Riveted together. I looked down and saw a ginormous stink bug on my shirt. Woo! Right there. Don't worry, I didn't hurt him. I threw him on a big stack of pillows. So at this point, I'd already shut the forge down, but had to keep messing with it. So I came out there, and you can see I got my nightwear on, I got my shorts, and I got my mismatched socks and some Birkenstocks on. I couldn't help myself. I had to keep working. So I cold riveted it because I had the forge shut down for the day. Otherwise, I probably would have, maybe try to heaten it up a little bit. Putting some finishing touches on the back plate. We're going to switch over and make the bar that goes through it that actually supports the skull. Alright, all I have is square stock. I would prefer to use round, but I just have this piece of square laying around, so I'm going to basically hammer the corners down and then eventually make it round. Okay, to speed things up, I'll let you know what I did here. I slit this bar with a hacksaw, and I'm going to spread it open here on the hot cut. And then I split the other portion there again. I'm going to work those down. Oh, no. Those are going to be the little prongs that support the back of the skull. Back to the heat. Okay, that's looking good. Probably enough right there for what I need. I'm gonna heat that up, put a little curve on it. Oh, I gotta also round this out. But yeah, we're about ready. When it comes to rounding this part out, one of those guillotine tools would have probably been amazing for this, to get that truly round right up to those little points. Is this bend that has to go down. There is my mark. Sorry about there. Two device. Where is that mark? There's my mark. You're getting ready to see me struggle with this a little bit. I bent the whole thing. The whole thing is hot. If I'd have cooled down the section I did not want to bend and only left the part that I wanted to bend hot, then it would have been perfect.
Okay, here we go. Should have put it in the other way. Bend it.
I'm reluctant to hit this with a hammer. You can kind of see me fiddling around, not wanting to commit, but then finally I'm just like, whatever, I'll beat this thing up. I think it's all bent up, and I have to take it to the anvil and straighten it, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely should have cooled that down. Right, straighten it out. Back to the anvil. Let's go. Just gonna straighten that out.
Ordinarily, I just weld those little pieces on and be done with it, but I wanted to make this project a no-weld project.
I bet that's pretty close. Maybe just a skosh more. I don't know. We'll have to see how it looks. We'll try that out. Okay, let's cool it down. I'm gonna clean it up with a file and such. Wire brush it and see how it fits.
Heat it up, slap some beeswax on it, and there she is.